Hello, hello, welcome. How are you today? Just give me a second, please. Oh, all this lights here. Okay, so today we are going to start our journey through the chakras. Okay, so let's begin from the beginning. What are chakras? Okay, so basically, chakras are a spin of a vortex, a wheel, a spinning wheel of energy, okay, that is located along our body. There are the seven main chakras are located actually in our body, but just keep in mind that there are upper chakras and lower chakras beyond our body. Okay, we're going to start studying the seven main chakras within our bodies, and we go from there. So the chakras, they represent the whole full spectrum of human possibilities. Okay, so there each chakra is going to talk about specific themes. What happens is the following. The chakra, so imagine, let me do an analogy here. um, Imagine your computer. There is the software and the hardware, right? In order for them to work together, they need electricity. The electricity make them work together. The chakras, they are located actually in our subtle body. Okay, they are this electricity that allows our mind and body to work together. So the chakras are this the life force, okay, this energy of life force that makes this connection possible. One thing that I want you to understand is the how this energy works and inside of us and in relation with the world. Okay, so basically, inside our body, this energy can move up or down, and we exchange with the world horizontally from the inside out and the outside in. Okay, so what happens is whenever this energy is going from our root chakra in the base of our spine up, we are working on our freedom. We are going to this other realm, which is our connection to the cosmos, our intuitions, our insights. We are working towards freedom. Whenever this current of energy is going down, we are actually grounding ourselves. We are working from our ideas, from this energy, realm down. The energy is getting denser and denser in order for us to manifest whatever it is that we need to manifest in this plane. Okay, and in relation to our horizontal exchange is whenever we are receiving from the world, we receive information, we receive love, we receive touch, we receive it horizontally, and we also express everything that we have inside from the inside out horizontally. What happened to the chakras? A lot is said about chakras and so on. My chakras are unbalanced. I want to explain to you a little bit what does that actually means. Okay, so remembering that the chakras organize this vital energy inside of us, and each major chakra talks about an area of our lives. Also, something really interesting to notice, since you probably already saw our class about feminine and masculine energy, is the energies of the chakras, they exchange. Remember, feminine energy and masculine energy has nothing to do with gender, okay? If masculine, let's put it simple, as an action, and feminine as intuition. Okay, so what happens is we the first chakra will be the masculine energy. Then we go to the feminine energy, which is the second. Then we go to the third, that is masculine, and so on. So they are one masculine, one feminine, representing the balance of our whole being. Before I tell you about how to balance our chakras and so on, I think it's important for me to start from the beginning, right? Because sometimes I think you guys already know. I want to show you where in our body the chakras are located. First chakra is in our root, is in the base of our spine. Okay, so here's our first chakra. Our second chakra will be around our belly button or our uterus if you're a woman. Okay, the third chakra is right here. The solar plexus is close to our stomach, the here, the beginning of our stomach. Then we have the heart chakra, the throat chakra, the sixth chakra, which is the third eye chakra, and the crown chakra. Okay, so now you know where they are located, and we're gonna go much more in depth onto them. And what does it mean, like, oh, my chakras are unbalanced? Well, we all have problems in life, right? And we all have history. We all have whatever we carry in our DNA as memories, whatever situations that happened to us that made us believe a couple of things and so on. So the idea here is to understand that working in our chakras means reprogramming, uh, examining our program, going back to the analogy of the computer. You know, imagine that the disbalance on chakras are like bugs, okay, in our programming. However, we need to be aware, we need to examine where in our chakra we have these bugs in order to change, in order to fix those things. So what are the programming we have behind in our unconsciousness? What is this? Is literally like whatever is automatic to us. We have been doing something our whole life in a certain way, and we learn how to defend ourselves. So our defenses mechanisms, our limiting beliefs, whatever it was told to us, and we bought us the whole truth. This is in our programming, and that's why we unbalance our chakras. Does that mean that always, let's say, if you know you have what does it mean? Let's begin from there. To have an unbalanced chakra, well, we know there is every chakra is a energy center that organize the life force, right? We can have this life force in excess or depleted, correct? So deficient or in excess. And you're going to understand how to actually um, analyze your chakra, all of them, in order to understand if you have too much energy or too little energy. Okay, the idea is for us to find the balance in each one of our chakras, because if we have a block in one chakra, remember that the energy goes up and down. If we have a block in one chakra, what happens is we are making it hard to reach the other chakra and so on. Or if we have in excess, something else has less energy. So that's the idea about balancing our chakras. Also, keep in mind, that's what I was going before. That is like this. Maybe right now, when I tell you this, because we're going to go through a couple of videos to understand and talk a little bit about each chakra, and you're going to be like, okay, I really have deficient energy on my first chakra, for example. Does that mean that throughout your whole life, you're going to have deficient energy of that chakra? No. That's the beauty of this. That is actually what we are doing here, because we're going to work towards balancing that energy. And maybe a little ahead in your life, you're going to see that you have excess energy on your crown chakra. And we are going to keep working throughout our life in order to make sure our chakras are balanced. Okay, so Because obviously, if we keep doing, why do we create this excess or deficient energy in our chakras? Because we are used to that. We repeatedly do things at the same time. So that's why the self knowledge is so important. You know, working towards our, working on our chakras means looking and perceiving things from a different perspective. Literally, going there, understanding that, using any tool in order to change that, in order to balance our chakras. So my invitation throughout this series of videos that we are going to be talking into, okay, is for you to understand which chakras are the weakest. Okay, what are my weakest chakras? What are the chakras that I have excessive energy? In which way does my energy seems to flow? Do you perceive yourself a lot going upwards or downwards? Remembering, okay, you're going to understand much more about that, but going upwards, we look for freedom. Okay, downward, we're working on manifestation. So pay attention while you're doing these exercises. In which way does your energy flow more? And obviously looking for balance. If your energy move upwards, let's start working for it also to move downward. Also, which ones seem to carry more pain or blockages? So that's going to be the invitation for us in the series of videos. And as I said, we're going to be working in each talk 2 chakras, and I'm just going to give you like basic understanding of those chakras, and I want us to go to dive deeper into one issue of that chakra. If you are a student at the portal, please, after watching this video, go in each individual chakra and watch their classes, because we are going to go much more in depth into those chakras, understanding also all the psychological issues that are being called for us to work on those chakras. Okay, so take this as a more chill way. So if you are in the portal, because you are, please watch more in that each chakra. Also important to understand this, what I'm about to give you here is a map. Okay, meaning it's theory. Okay, you're going to be able to understand with your mind. However, you need to experience, you need to do the work. By the way, don't forget to download your PDF of the exercises here, because that's the way you're going to really balance your chakra. It's not only by knowing what that chakra is about. Okay, it's the same thing. Imagine if I'm telling you this is a map, right? It's the same thing as you study the map of Paris, let's say, and you are there studying the map of Paris, and you know all the streets and so on, and you see the pictures, where does this take? Is it the same as if you were actually in Paris, walking those streets? No. So keep in mind, what I'm about to start giving you here in these videos are a map. It is important that you take your time to answer those questions and start working towards developing a new perspective and using different healing tools in order for you to be able to balance those chakras. Okay, so by the way, I'm gonna tell you. Okay, let's start. I'm gonna tell you first thing. What is the first chakra? How does it look like? The first chakra looks like this. Okay, and as you can see, there is this triangle that is pointing down, right? Our first chakra, our root chakra, is like our roots. And it's so important for us living in this dimension, right? We are these beings living in this duality, in this third dimensional reality. So it is extremely important for us to have our roots really nicely grounded. Because if our roots are not grounded enough on earth, our tree cannot grow. Okay, it's extremely important for us to understand this as the base of our energy system. Okay, give me 1 second because I need to open this door. Come, guys. Okay, I'm gonna leave it open. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. Well, no more light. Let's keep it this way. Okay, going back to the first chakra. Basic information. Color is red. The element related to this chakra is earth. We're going to talk a little bit more about earth in a second. The sense is smell. That's how we work on that chakra. Okay, the identity of this chakra is physical identity. The orientation of this chakra is self-preservation, and the demon of this chakra is fear. Remembering that everything in this planet that we live, it's dual. Okay, everything is one energy with two different polarities, and we can call one the light, another one the shadow. Okay, our goal is to actually find this balance and bring whatever it is in the shadow to the light. Okay, so basically, for you to start understanding on yourself, what are the excessive characteristics? Meaning, when your first chakra has excessive energy, you probably have a lot of resistance to change, material fixation, greediness, workaholic. You are an workaholic, and you have excessive spending. This is this energy in excess in our first chakra. In what is the deficient energy on our first chakra? Fear and anxiety, resistance to structure, disconnection from our body, and difficulty manifesting. What happens when we have these characteristics balanced? So, by the way, if you want to write down whatever you think, okay, so if you think, yes, I am afraid, okay, 1 point for deficient. Oh, but I also work a lot. So 1 point for sex excessive. Is important that you understand that you might find characteristics on both sides. Okay, so if that happens to you, if it's not like, okay, I have much more characteristics on deficiency, so you know you have deficiency of energy in your first chakra, I invite you to look at how this chakra looks like when it's balanced. When this chakra is balanced, we feel groundedness, we feel physical health, we are comfortable in our body, we have a sense of safety and security, we feel prosper, we have the ability to be still. And most importantly, we are present in the here and now. So while talking to my clients and so on, I decided to talk today. I pick a theme of this chakra, and we're gonna go a little bit more deeper in one of those themes. Okay, the class, as I said, is gonna be in the following videos for you who are in the portal, so you understand better all the themes regarding this chakra. However, as of right now, in the first chakra, since the orientation is self-preservation, okay, and the demon is fear, we're gonna talk about fear and also self-preservation. While talking to my clients, I was asking them, right, what are they afraid of? And obviously, we are, by the way, I didn't say that before, but we are humans, individual humans that have completely different internal material. So some people might feel hard, might have trouble focusing or dealing with finance, while other people might feel trouble uh, opening up to a love relationship. That's completely fine. That's why our chakras are there. And the idea is for us to always balance all of them. So whenever I ask them, what are they afraid? Obviously, we got completely different answers. By the way, let me check here. And I'm going to talk about one that I found it super interesting, but just for you to know. I heard they answered me, well, I'm afraid of dying. I'm afraid of making a mistake. I'm afraid of failing. I'm afraid of letting others down. So these are the things in this talk that I want to explore regarding our first chakra. Let's start by the fear of dying. Well, look how interesting. The orientation of our first chakra is self-preservation. And we have this inside of us. It's really interesting that this is our instinct. Inside of us, we have an instinct that wants to keep us alive. So, for example, if you see you are walking in the street and you stopped because you know the signal is for the cars to pass, and you are walking, you have to stop. And it comes someone that is on the phone and it doesn't see the signal and it's about to step in the street. Your first reaction will be to save that person, to stop that person. That's our instinct of self preservation. Okay, so know that we have this inside of us. However, it's important for us to understand before we start talking about different fears that there is a real fear and a non-real fear. Okay, basically, what does that mean? A real fear is when you are in a real danger right now. For example, you are, I don't know, right here, right now, and there is a lion in front of you. What's going to happen inside of your body is your adrenal glands will start producing hormones for you to fight or flight. It's going to be a discharge of hormones in order for you to self-preserve yourself. Okay, so this is a real fear. And your body is going to decide right away, am I going to stay quiet and stop here because maybe he's not going to see me, or am I going to run? Fight or flight. Okay, so that's a real fear. There is someone, you're going through anything, and there is someone that has a gun on you. That's a real fear. Okay? And the non-real fear is whatever it is in our mind. So all the things that we are afraid of. I am afraid of not having enough money in a month. I am afraid that I'm gonna be misunderstood. I am afraid. And if you realize a nice way for you to understand if you are in real fear or not is to ask yourself the simple question. Close your eyes whenever you realize you're afraid of something, afraid of taking the next step, because we think, oh, should I go right or left? And we are afraid of taking that step because we imagine what is going to happen. But what if everything goes wrong? The way for you to understand if it is a real fear or not, ask yourself, am I in danger in this exact moment? If the answer is no, you start working on with any tool in order to take your mind out of that place. Because whatever fear you have for the future is an illusion, is a lie. We cannot be afraid of something that still didn't happen. And this is really what causes anxiety and so on. Because look, you are afraid of a problem that you still don't have. So there is no solution in the present moment that you can think of that is going to take away that fear. You understand? There is this saying that says, if you are afraid, go with your fear. Because the only way for you to make that monster of a fear that is this big becomes this is actually facing that fear is actually taking that step. Okay, so first and foremost, understand and invite this understanding for you. Am I in real danger? No, I'm not. Okay, so great. Now let that go, because what happens is our body does not know we are not in real danger. So your adrenal glands, it's going to release the stress hormones every time you feel afraid, even if you're not in danger in this very moment. So let's say you are afraid of taking that step. Your body doesn't know you are just afraid of the future. You are afraid. Your body is going to release that chemical. And because we are so used to being afraid and living in this way, we're consciously anxious, we are consciously being, we need to be perfect and blah, 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 and we need to achieve and conquer. What happens is our body releases every day these stress hormones in little doses. And this builds up inside of us and manifest diseases in our body. Do you understand how important it is for us to be conscious and realize whenever we are afraid of something that is not in the right moment, right here and right now? It's really important for us to tell ourselves the truth and actually start opening up that thought. Why am I afraid? Okay, if everything goes wrong, what is the worst that can happen to me? And whenever we start doing that inside of us, we start helping ourselves in order to stop releasing those hormones, because we make fear something that is actually workable, because we give names. It's so important that we start opening up those emotions. Also, since I talked about this, I want to bring also to our consciousness one thing. All our reactions that come from our unconscious, because reactions is when we react automatically to something, right? Or because someone said something and you felt something and you react. So every reaction comes from our unconscious. It's like automatic. I invite you to understand that actually our rage, our need of vengeance, and all these aspects of ourselves, they're actually hiding a pain. And most of the times this pain is related of us being afraid of something. I gave you a couple of examples here that can be touchable, tangible. Let's say, for example, fear of death. But what about the fear of making things wrong? For us to understand why, for us to understand, okay, I'm afraid of doing things in the wrong way. Now we have to start opening up that emotion. What is going to happen if I do things wrong? Why am I afraid? Because maybe I want to feel validated by others. Maybe I put all my sense of value in what I do. And if I do something wrong, then I have no value, because people are going to figure out I'm not perfect. Do you see where I'm going? So just keep that in mind. Since we were talking here about self-preservation, as I told you, is our instinct to self-preserve ourselves. And the first chakra has everything to do with our physical body, our work, our home, our finances. So for you to remember, everything that makes us live in this reality, be able to be alive in this reality, food, has everything to do with our first chakra. Okay? So, self preservation. We do have that. However, whenever it was interesting when they answered me that they were afraid of dying. Again, I invite you to think that the real fear is not actually the fear of death. It's because whenever you die, you die. You don't even know, right? You die. That's it. Pa. Why are you afraid of that, right? So, I invite you to think that if you are afraid of dying, that means somehow you're also afraid of living. And I want you to internalize this and try to look inside of you where this information is taking you. Remember, we live in a dual planet, correct? So challenge ourselves in those fearful moments. Perfect. Uh, Whenever we are afraid of death, that means we are afraid of life. You know, if you believe that it's going to happen, something that you are more than this body, you know, doesn't make sense being afraid of death, because you understand you are cyclical. You understand you are a never-ending being, having the opportunity to live, to experiment your consciousness right now in this reality. And maybe you're going to experience yourself somewhere else, in another time and space. If you don't believe in any of this, and you simply believe you are this body, that you're going to die and that's it, what are you afraid of? Right? So I invite you to look at this fear of dying. Instead of stating, I'm afraid of death, look inside and ask yourself, what am I afraid to leave? And we're going to begin this work from that point. Okay? Go into our second chakra. No, so let me ask you a couple of questions so I leave you with something to work on. By the way, as I said, this first chakra is related to everything that makes us our life terrain, let's put it this way. So I said your work, your house. I invite you to look around, see how your house is, how it's organized. Is it clean? Is it not? You know, it's so important for us, especially working this first chakra, to understand our environments, understand how we deal with our finance, understand how we are eating, how we are nourishing our body. Ask yourself if there is anything else that you could improve in those areas. Also ask yourself, uh, what in life, in anything, do I feel resistant? I feel too harsh and too resistant. Okay, if you are in the portal, I invite you to rewatch the ego class, okay, where we talked about resistances regarding our ego. Okay, anyways, so another thing I wanted to say before going to the second chakra is actually related to the element of this chakra. The element of this chakra is earth. What earth? What is the energy of earth? Well, if you think about it, earth is our soil. And in order for us to have a healthy soil, we need to nurture that soil, right? You cannot plant any seed in a soil that is dead. In order for you to plant a seed and have it grow, you need to be able to take care of that soil. Earth also talks a lot to us about grounding, about organization, about being able to give a margin to our life. Okay, and I wanted to do this analogy because the second chakra that we're going to explore right now has everything to do, is related to the element water. So while the earth is steady, is grounded, is fixed, correct? It gives us that support we need in order to walk on top of it. Water is actually the opposite. Water is about flow. Water has nothing to do with resistance. Water is malleable. A water, imagine a river, right? The river has is delimited, has its delimitation by the earth. So the river follows its course. However, if the water finds a stone in the middle of the river, it doesn't stay there fighting with that stone. Oh, you shouldn't be there. No, the water knows how to be flexible. So we know what the water does. Woo! Right and left, and it flows. Okay? It's about movement. While the earth is about grounding, is about being here, in the here and now. So with that one, we go to the second chakra, which is this one right here. So the color of this chakra is orange. The element, as I said, is water. The sense is taste. That's how we can experiment that. Um, the identity of this chakra is emotional identity. So the first chakra, physical identity. Now we move up to our second chakra, which is the emotional identity. The orientation of this chakra is where we're going for is self gratification. And the demon of this chakra is guilt. Okay, so super interesting. Before I start talking a little bit more about the guilt, I want to share with you the a couple of characteristics that is gonna of themes that is gonna tell you if your second chakra has excessive energy or deficient energy. If you have your second chakra with excessive energy, you are feeling sexual addictions, obsessive attachments. That's a big one. Addiction to stimulation. So it can be caffeine. It can be alcohol to, like you drink caffeine the whole day to keep yourself up, and then you have to drink alcohol at night to put you to sleep. So addiction to any type of stimulation, even stimulation can be our phones, stimulation. Uh, Excessively sensitive, poor boundaries. That's also a big one on this one. And emotional dependency. If you have deficient energy in this chakra, you're going to feel rigid in your body, in your beliefs, in your behavior. You know that person that can never change the mind, like ever? You're going to feel emotional numbness, kind of like insensitivity, really. Fear of change, lack of desire, lack of passion, of pleasure, uh, and also boredom. This chakra is called the sacral chakra. It is related to our sexuality as well. Okay, so again, if you were able to see a lot of excessive characteristics that represent you, great. So you know you have an excessive or deficient. If you still are more or less balanced, let's look at how, when this chakra is balanced, it should feel like. You should have graceful movements, ability to embrace change, emotional intelligence, healthy boundaries, ability to enjoy pleasure. Okay, because believe it or not, sometimes we don't allow ourselves to feel pleasure because we feel guilty, because we don't feel we deserve. It's so interesting, but okay. Also sexual satisfaction. So when this chakra is balanced, that's how you uh, express its energy. And when I asked about, since the demon of this chakra is guilt, also I got completely different types of answers, but I want to share a couple here with you. So guilt of lying, that's a good one. Guilt of lying, even if it's a good lie. I want to explore this with you in a little bit. Guilt when your parents fight. So interesting, because maybe right now that you are an adult, you don't feel that way anymore. But it's so interesting that when you are looking back, if your parents used to fight a lot, maybe you are not able to recall this to your consciousness. But a lot of times kids feel it's their fault. And you know what you imprint in your subconscious? I'm doing something wrong. What is this gonna, or whatever it is. And then what does this bring you in your adulthood? I cannot make mistakes. I'm afraid of failing people. I'm afraid I'm not good enough, and so on. So always remember to keep opening up. First, name your emotions and then keep opening up them, okay? Another guilt that people feel. Guilt of believing that they have done something wrong. And also, I want to give this example because this was given to me as an example. So I don't know how else to put into words. And I think you can all relate to that somehow in some level. Well, or not. Point is, this person comes to me and say, you know what? A friend of mine called me and she asked me for a referral. So I referred someone that always did a really great job for me. At the end, this person that asked me for the referral hated the job of the person I referred to. And somehow, with her words, this person felt guilty. So look at this situation. You feel guilty because someone asked you something, a referral, you gave the referral, that person was always good to you. And now this other person is somehow said something to you that you believe it's your fault, that this was not a happy relationship between them. Now I invite you to think about this in two ways. So first of all, we have to look here in many aspects. Why are you taking the responsibility of something? So this person asked you a referral, you gave it. From that point on, there is nothing you can do. Because now it's two other people exchanging information and they can get along or they can't. This is absolutely not your fault. Your intention is, I'm going to give what is good for me. And as we know, what is good for me might not be good for you. This is in everything in life. Or even, let's put it this way, an advice. People love giving advices. But that's the whole point. I can give you a great advice here that worked on my life. But maybe it's not going to work on your life. And now I'm going to be guilty because you decided to follow my advice? No. That's why it's so important for us to understand our self-responsibility. Because when I take full responsibility in my life, whenever the others don't take theirs, that's not my problem. I already know. If I ask an advice for you, you give me an advice, and I agree with that advice. From that point on, this has nothing to do with you. It's up to me, to my livre-arbítrio, to my will, to my choice to follow that advice. Now I'm taking the responsibility regarding that advice. And if someone or anyone ever tried to put on you a responsibility because your advice wasn't good or your referral wasn't good, know that this has nothing to do with you. The person has to work on their self-responsibility. However, if it hurts you, then that's on you. Because if you are feeling guilty, let me tell you something about guilty. As I said, and I shared with you a couple of times, we lie to ourselves, obviously unconsciously, okay? So what we're doing here is the path to our true self with different tools. So what we want to do is start telling the truth to our own selves. There is, just like the fear, there is the real fear and the illusion fear. We have a real guilt and we have a non-real guilt. So how we ask ourselves a simple question to understand if I'm really feeling guilty or if this is simply a defense mechanism because I want to be loved, because I want to be right, and so on. Well, when we are feeling real guilt, we ask ourselves, if this situation happened again, exactly the way it happened, would I have done anything differently? If your answer is yes, and you are able to change, that's a real guilt. If you are feeling guilty, but In the next week, someone asks you for a referral. And because you know you want to be proactive, you want to be nice, and you give a referral, so you would do the same. That's not a real guilt. Let me put a more deep example. Whenever we have a fight with someone, let's say we have a fight with someone, and then you are there after some time, you are alone, and you're like, shit, like I didn't want to have said the things that I said, and you feel guilty about it, because you're like, okay, I understand things I didn't like, we had an argument, but also you feel guilty because maybe you said things that you don't even think. Okay, and you have this sense of guilt. Ask the same question: is this a real guilt or an unreal guilt? And then you're going to tell me, no, it's a real guilt because I don't want to, let's say, be rude to that person anymore, or I don't want to have harsh words. I understand your intention is good. Okay. However, if in 2 weeks you fight with that person again, and once again you allow your rage and your harsh words to come out of your mind, that means that's not a real guilt. That means you have the intention to evolve, to be better, to learn how to control your rage, to learn how to don't say harsh words. But this is not guilt. Guilt has everything related to I have done something, I am sorry I have done that, I have hurted someone or whatever it is, and I'm never going to do that again. And I understand this is a little bit hard for us to understand because we think everything we're like, oh, I'm feeling guilt. No. Open up. That's what I'm inviting you. Open up more, because that's not the real feeling there. It might start in you feeling as a guilt, but if you're going to do that again, doesn't matter if you're going to ask for sorry or not for sorry. Look in an effective way. Okay, what does that person triggers on me that put me on this defense mode that I have to protect myself? And that's why I have rage, and that's why I talk bad to that person. So that's the idea we should be walking towards. Okay, not simply like I feel guilty, I'm going to say sorry, but in 2 weeks I'm going to do the same. And it's all good. We are humans evolving, trying to get better. So always my invitation, and here, it's always for us to start peeling an onion. Imagine yourself as an onion. And today we took one part. Oh, now we are aware. Now we take another part, and we keep peeling ourselves, and we keep spiraling up in our evolution. So another thing that I want to talk about this chakra is about boundaries, healthy boundaries. This is so important because a lot of people have difficulties saying no. And this has many possible reasons why. Okay. But basically, a people pleaser is someone that sees their value not from the inside out, but actually from the outside in. So it sees their value when a person loves them, when a person does something for them, and so on. So healthy boundaries is learning that being able to say no is one of the healthiest things you can do for you. Because here's the example I always give. I love you, okay? I love you. Always good. And I know you're thirsty. And here I have a glass. And I truly want to give it to you. But here you go. There is no water in this glass. So even though I want to give it to you, I can't because I don't have it inside. Now, if my cup is actually full, now I can give you this. So whenever, what happens a lot of times is people that have difficulty saying no, always give the water they have to the people. There is a problem. At some point, you're going to dehydrate. And then you're not going to be able to give anything to anyone because your cup is going to be like this. And now guess what? You're probably going to need someone to give you water. So what is the smartest thing to do? Remember, the life force energy is inside of us and it regenerates. That's the beauty of it. So what do? Okay, I fill myself up. Now I can share with others. I fill myself up. Now I can share with others. So it's so important for us to say no, because you're not always going to be full. So understanding your boundaries and your limits are related to our second chakra. Okay? So that's it for today. We are gonna keep these videos in talking about the third and the fourth, fifth and sixth, and I invite you to, as I said in the portal, keep going one and do the exercises proposed on the PDFs and the video. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.